Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're diving into a topic today that I know a lot of you have been wondering about. It's fitness training versus muscle building, and figuring out which path is actually the best for you and your goals. We've got a ton of research to unpack here, from defining these approaches and their benefits to the practical stuff like nutrition, how to structure your workouts, and how to stay safe.
Yeah, that's right. Today, we really want to give you the knowledge to confidently choose your own fitness journey. We see this all the time. People start with a general fitness goal in mind, which is awesome, but then they start asking, should I be focusing more specifically on building muscle? Maybe they're after a certain look, or they want to get stronger for certain activities, or they're even thinking about optimizing their metabolism.
You hit the nail on the head. So we'll break down the core definitions, look at the evidence behind each approach, and then give you some real practical advice you can use. We'll dig into the science behind muscle growth, the broad benefits of focusing on overall fitness, and give you actionable steps to put either approach or even a mix of both into practice.
Exactly.
All right, let's jump right in. So many people who are thinking about making a shift ask, what even is fitness training in the first place?
Well, at its heart, fitness training is about taking a balanced approach to getting in shape. It's not about specializing in just one area, but developing a well-rounded physique and a body that can handle a wide range of activities.
That's a great way to put it. And the Mayo Clinic really emphasizes this balance, right? They highlight these 5 key elements: aerobic fitness, strength training, core exercises, balance training, and flexibility and stretching. They're all about improving your overall physical health in a comprehensive way, not just focusing on one specific thing.
And it's really interesting how this lines up with what places like Planet Fitness are doing, where they really highlight personalization. It's not about following some rigid one-size-fits-all program. It's about tailoring your activities to your own needs, what you actually enjoy doing, and what you can realistically keep up in the long run.
Exactly. The best workout plan is the one you can stick with, right? Well, MayorRight.com adds another layer to this too, defining fitness training as intentionally and systematically participating in physical activities and structured exercise to improve your health in various aspects. This goes beyond just cardio and strength. It includes flexibility and body composition too. It's a really proactive and goal-oriented approach.
Yeah, and if we look at how Wikipedia views it, they stress that general fitness prioritizes overall health and well-being over very specific objectives, like if you were training for a competitive sport or aiming for extreme muscle growth. They even point out that aesthetic improvements, like getting more toned, might happen, but it's seen as a side effect rather than the main goal.
Interesting. And just to break it down to the very basic meaning, the Cambridge Dictionary defines fitness as simply being physically strong and healthy, and training as the process of acquiring skills through practice. So fitness training is basically the structured way you develop overall physical strength and health through a variety of activities.
Exactly. When you put all these definitions together, the main idea is that fitness training is about achieving a broad improvement in your physical health and your ability to do everyday activities. It's about having an active lifestyle and feeling good overall.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for anyone thinking about building muscle. Strength training is a core part of fitness training. So if you're already following a balanced fitness routine, you're probably already doing exercises that help build muscle strength, which means you've got a great foundation to build on.
That's a really key point. And to expand on that, let's talk about functional training for a second. It falls under the umbrella of fitness training, but it's mainly about developing practical strength and movements that you use in everyday life. So think about lifting groceries or being able to bend down comfortably. This is a bit different from muscle building, which might focus on maximizing how much weight you can lift in specific exercises, even if those exercises don't directly translate to everyday movements.
Got it. So fitness training is about being well-rounded and includes strength work to give you a base, and it's all geared towards overall health and functional abilities. Now let's dive into the flip side, the science behind muscle building.
Muscle building, or muscle hypertrophy, is all about making your existing muscle cells bigger. It's not about creating new muscle cells. This increase in size mainly happens through 2 types of hypertrophy: sarcoplasmic and myofibrillar.
Okay, those sound pretty technical. Can you break them down for us?
Sure, picture a muscle cell. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy means you're increasing the volume of the sarcoplasm, which is the fluid inside the cell. This fluid stores energy in the form of glycogen. So when this volume increases, the muscle looks fuller, which is something bodybuilders often want to achieve for that larger appearance.
Right, so that's more about the visual size of the muscle. What about myofibrillar hypertrophy?
That's where the real strength gains come in. Myofibrils are the protein filaments inside the muscle cell, and they're what actually make the muscle contract. Myofibrillar hypertrophy means you're increasing both the size and the number of these filaments, leading to bigger and, more importantly, stronger muscles. This is what weightlifters and athletes often focus on because they need to lift heavy or generate a lot of power.
So what actually causes these changes inside the muscle cells?
It all starts with resistance training, basically. Challenging your muscles against some kind of resistance. This could be weights, resistance bands, or even your own body weight. This causes tiny tears in the muscle fibers called microtrauma. It might sound bad, but this is actually the signal for your body to repair and rebuild those fibers, making them bigger and stronger to handle the stress you put on them.
So you're basically telling your body, hey, I need these muscles to be stronger to handle this kind of load in the future.
Exactly. And here's a crucial principle. Progressive overload. You can't just keep lifting the same weight the same way and expect to keep growing. You've got to gradually increase the demands you place on your muscles. That means lifting heavier weights, doing more reps or sets, or shortening the rest periods between sets. Without this, your muscles adapt to the current level of stress and just stop growing.
Got it. So you got to keep pushing yourself to see continuous improvement.
Right, and hormones play a role too. Things like testosterone, human growth hormone, and insulin-like growth factor all help with building new muscle tissue and preventing the breakdown of existing muscle.
So those are your natural muscle building allies.
Yeah. And then we have metabolic stress, which happens when byproducts like lactate build up in the muscle during intense lifting, and mechanical tension, which is the force on your muscle fibers when you lift something heavy. Both of these also signal muscle growth.
Okay, let me try to summarize this. Muscle building is about making existing muscle cells larger, either by increasing fluid volume or the number of contractile proteins. This happens because resistance training causes tiny tears, which the body then repairs and overcompensates for, making the muscle bigger and stronger. And to keep this process going, you have to constantly challenge your muscles with progressive overload. Did I get that right?
You got it perfectly. And understanding the difference between sarcoplasmic and myofibrillar hypertrophy can help you tailor your training based on whether your goal is size or strength. Remember, progressive overload is non-negotiable for long-term growth. Oh, and one more thing. It's important to know that things like age, sex, and genetics can affect your hormone levels, and that can influence how much muscle you can build. This helps you set realistic expectations for your own journey.
That's a really clear explanation of the science. Now, let's zero in on the key differences between fitness training and muscle building, specifically for you, the listener.
The core difference lies in their primary objectives. Fitness training is all about overall health and well-being. It's a holistic approach that aims to improve everything from your cardiovascular health to your flexibility and balance. This leads to a well-rounded physique and the ability to easily perform a variety of physical activities.
On the other hand, muscle building has a much narrower aim. It's primarily about increasing muscle size, which is hypertrophy. While strength and appearance usually improve too, the main goal is bigger muscles.
Exactly. And because of these different goals, the training methods also differ. Fitness training typically involves various types of exercise. You'll see aerobic activities, resistance training using different tools, core strengthening, balance work, and flexibility routines. This is all designed to address those different aspects of overall fitness.
Muscle building, however, is much more intensely focused on resistance training. But it's not just about lifting weights. It's about strategically changing things like the number of sets and reps, the weight lifted, and the rest periods between sets to really maximize muscle protein synthesis and, therefore, muscle growth.
Cardio usually takes a back seat.
The intensity and volume of training also differ. Fitness training uses a broader range of intensities and volumes depending on what you're doing. For instance, you might have longer, less intense cardio sessions along with moderate intensity strength workouts. But with muscle building, you usually see a higher training volume, meaning more sets and reps per muscle group. This is usually done at moderate to high intensity, often in that 6 to 12 rep range we mentioned for hypertrophy, and the rest periods between sets are often shorter to boost metabolic stress.
And the specificity of training is another key difference. Fitness training is about preparing us physically for a wide range of demands so you can do everyday tasks more usually. The exercises often mimic movements you actually do in real life.
Muscle building, however, is more about increasing the size and strength of specific muscle groups, often in exercises that aren't necessarily movements you do frequently outside the gym. Some people might think that if they can bench press a lot, they'll just be stronger for everything. But is that always true, or is it more nuanced than that?
That's a great question. While muscle building will definitely make you stronger overall, focusing on specific lifts might not directly translate to functional strength for everyday activities. Fitness training often prioritizes exercises that have a more direct carryover to daily life.
It's worth repeating that while both fitness training and muscle building involve strength training, the way it's programmed and emphasized is very different. In fitness training, it's one element among many, aimed at improving overall conditioning and building a base level of strength for daily life.
But for muscle building, strength training is the foundation, it's the primary focus, and it uses specific protocols designed to make those muscles grow. So just tapping on some extra weightlifting to your current routine probably won't lead to significant muscle growth if that's your main goal.
That's a key difference. And then there's motivation. Aesthetic goals, wanting to look a certain way, are often a big driving force behind muscle building. While you might see some changes in your physique with fitness training, it's not usually the main objective. So it's really important to consider what's driving your own fitness aspirations.
Absolutely. And lastly, there's the concept of functional strength. Fitness training often emphasizes strength that you can directly apply to everyday movements. While muscle building will make you stronger overall, it might prioritize maximal strength in isolated exercises that might not be as relevant to how you actually move in daily life, like lifting groceries or carrying your kids. So you've got to consider what kind of strength best fits your needs and lifestyle.
Okay, now that we've laid out the differences, let's explore why someone might choose fitness training. What are the big benefits for your overall well-being?
Well, there are a lot of benefits. Let's start with cardiovascular health. A big part of fitness training is aerobic exercise, which is incredibly good for your heart. It strengthens the heart muscle, improves blood flow, and enhances your body's ability to use oxygen. This significantly reduces your risk of heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, and bad cholesterol levels. You can literally improve those vital health markers.
That's a huge plus. What about just having enough energy to get through the day?
Right, and that's where improved endurance comes in. Fitness training, with its mix of cardio and strength training, helps your muscles fight fatigue, so everyday tasks become easier, and you can enjoy recreational activities for longer without getting totally exhausted.
And it's not just about physical benefits, right? We always hear about how good exercise is for mental well-being.
Absolutely, the effects on mental well-being are really significant. Regular fitness training consistently improves mood, reduces stress and anxiety, and even helps with depression. It also leads to better sleep, more energy throughout the day, and a real boost in self-esteem.
That's fantastic. Are there any other health benefits worth mentioning?
Yeah, a few more. Fitness training helps strengthen your immune system, making you more resistant to getting sick. Could also plays a crucial role in maintaining and even improving your cognitive function, things like thinking, learning, and judgment. This is particularly important as you get older, and it can potentially help reduce the risk of cognitive decline.
So it's about keeping both your body and mind sharp and healthy. What about its role in weight management?
Fitness training is a key player in effective weight management. It helps you maintain a healthy weight, reduces your risk of obesity, and can even help manage conditions like type 2 diabetes and arthritis. It often combines calorie-burning cardio with muscle-building strength training, which makes it a really effective strategy for managing your overall body composition.
You also mentioned balance training earlier. Why is that important?
Balance training, which is often part of fitness routines, helps improve your stability and reduces your risk of falls. This is super important for staying independent and maintaining a good quality of life as you age.
So it sounds like fitness training can lead to a much better quality of life and maybe even a longer, more active life by promoting holistic health in many different ways.
Exactly. If your main goals are strong cardiovascular health and good endurance, then having a solid cardio component in your training is absolutely essential. And don't underestimate the mental health and cognitive benefits either. Those are really important factors to consider.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about muscle building. What are the specific advantages of focusing on muscle building for your fitness goals?
The biggest benefit is a significant increase in strength and power. Through hypertrophy, and by improving the communication between your nervous system and your muscles, you'll become noticeably stronger. This makes everyday tasks feel easier and can really enhance your performance in any physical activity.
And we've already talked about the visual aspect, the increase in lean muscle mass. But it's not just about aesthetics, right?
Right, that increase in lean muscle mass has a big impact on your metabolism. Muscle tissue burns more calories than fat tissue, even when you're at rest. So having more muscle means you burn more calories throughout the day. This is a big win for weight management and improving your body composition, something that a lot of people are interested in.
So building muscle can actually help you burn more calories even when you're not working out.
Exactly, and the benefits go beyond that. The stress that strength training puts on your bones actually helps to increase bone density and reduce your risk of osteoporosis and fractures, which becomes more important as you get older.
That's a really important point that people often overlook. What other advantages does muscle building offer?
Well, the increased strength and stability around your joints can also reduce your risk of falls and injury, like muscle strains and sprains. And even though it works differently than aerobic exercise, muscle building can also improve heart health by helping to lower blood pressure and cholesterol levels.
Interesting. I know blood sugar management is a concern for a lot of people. Does muscle building have any impact there?
It does. Increased muscle mass improves your insulin sensitivity and help our body regulate blood sugar more effectively. This is crucial for preventing or managing type 2 diabetes because muscle tissue is a major place where glucose is taken up from the bloodstream.
So it seems like the benefits go way beyond just bigger muscles.
You got it. And let's not forget the psychological benefits. Achieving your physique and strength goals can do wonders for your self-esteem and body image.
To recap, it seems like muscle building offers a lot more than just aesthetics. It can have a significant impact on strength, metabolism, and the long-term health of your skeletal and metabolic systems. And that boost in resting metabolic rate is a huge plus for weight management, along with the added protection against falls and injuries, which can help you stay active for longer.
You nailed it. Those are definitely key advantages to consider if those are your primary fitness goals.
All right, we've got a good understanding of the what and the why. Now let me get into the how. How do the nutritional considerations differ when you're focusing on fitness training versus muscle building?
Both approaches require you to pay attention to your diet, but the specifics are different. For fitness training, the focus is on having a well-balanced diet that provides enough fuel for your various activities and supports your overall health. This means getting enough carbs for energy, enough protein for muscle repair and maintenance, healthy fats for hormone production, and a variety of vitamins and minerals. The Mayo Clinic even talks about sports nutrition, which highlights the importance of fueling your body properly for your activity level.
So a balanced plate is key there. What changes when the focus shifts to muscle building?
The nutritional needs become more specific and honestly more demanding. Protein becomes really important. You're looking at about 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight every day to help those muscles repair and grow. And it's not just about the total amount, the type of protein and when you eat it also matters. Choose high-quality protein sources that are rich in leucine, an amino acid that really kicks off muscle protein synthesis. Spreading your protein intake evenly throughout the day seems to be more effective than having it all in one or two big wheels.
So more protein and being strategic about when you eat it. What about carbs and fats?
Carbs are still super important for energy, especially during those tough muscle building workouts. And for replenishing your glycogen stores afterwards, they should still make up a good chunk of your calories, at least 40% is often recommended. Paying attention to when you eat your carbs around your workouts can also be helpful. And even though protein gets most of the attention, don't forget about micronutrients like vitamin D and iron, which are essential for those metabolic processes involved in muscle growth. You also need to make sure you're eating enough calories overall, and sometimes even a little extra, to provide the energy and building blocks for new muscle tissue. Healthy fats are still important for hormone production, which indirectly supports muscle growth. And of course, staying hydrated is non-negotiable.
And what about supplements? We hear a lot about them in the context of muscle building.
Yeah, you can definitely consider supplements strategically. For instance, creatine monohydrate has a ton of research behind it showing that it can really help boost muscle mass and strength gains, but it's always best to talk to a healthcare professional before adding any new supplements to your diet.
So the main difference is that muscle building requires a more targeted and strict approach to nutrition. You need more protein, you have to time your nutrient intake more carefully, and you need more calories overall to fuel that muscle growth. And the potential role of certain supplements, like creatine, becomes more important too.
That's right. The nutritional demands directly reflect the goal of maximizing muscle protein synthesis and recovery.
All right, we've covered nutrition. Now let's talk about the workouts themselves. How do the routines and the times commitment typically differ between fitness training and muscle building?
A typical fitness training routine is all about balance, aiming to hit those 5 key elements we talked about earlier. This usually means at least 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity aerobic exercise, like brisk walking, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity activity, like running. You'll also have strength training sessions that work all the major muscle groups at least twice a week using various equipment or body weight exercises. Core exercises for stability, balance training to prevent falls, and flexibility and stretching are all part of it too. The total time commitment really depends on your goals and how much you enjoy each activity.
So it's a mix of everything, tailored to your schedule and what you like. What about muscle building? What does a typical routine look like?
Muscle building routines are much more focused on resistance training. You might see schedules with 2 to 3 dedicated weightlifting days per week, with rest days built in to allow your muscles to recover and grow. A lot of people use split routines where they work different muscle groups on different days, like an upper body day and a lower body day. To maximize muscle growth, you'll usually work in that 6 to 12 rep range we discussed, typically for 3 to 5 sets per exercise, with rest periods of around 60 to 90 seconds between sets. Time under tension, which is how long your muscles are working during each rep, also matters. You'll often aim for 40 to 70 seconds per set to really optimize hypertrophy. And of course, progressive overload is key. You need to keep challenging your muscles to see progress. Interestingly, research suggests that a minimum effective dose for muscle growth might be around 4 sets per muscle group per week. And you can actually get a really effective muscle building workout done in around 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week.
So it doesn't necessarily take a lot more time than a well-rounded fitness routine?
That's right. While both approaches include strength training, the way muscle building is structured really focuses on those factors that drive muscle growth. Fitness training, on the other hand, integrates strength work with other important fitness elements. What's really crucial in muscle building is rest and recovery. Your muscles need time to repair and rebuild after being challenged, so planning those rest days strategically is a big part of an effective muscle building program.
So it's not just about the workouts, it's also about making sure you're scheduling enough recovery time.
Absolutely, that strategic planning of rest days really becomes a key difference between the two approaches.
Okay, we've talked about how to train and what to eat. Now let's talk about safety. What are the differences in terms of equipment and injury prevention?
For fitness training, you can often do a lot with minimal equipment, maybe just your own body weight and a good pair of shoes for walking or running. If you're doing strength training, some basic gym equipment can definitely expand your options. Muscle building, on the other hand, often uses a wider range of equipment. Think free weights like barbells and dumbbells, machines designed for specific muscle groups, resistance bands, and of course, body weight exercises too.
So you might need to invest a little more in equipment or a gym membership for muscle building. What about staying injury-free?
The basic injury prevention principles are the same for both. You've got to warm up properly before each workout and cool down afterwards. Maintaining good form during every exercise is absolutely crucial. Increase your training intensity and volume gradually. Remember that progressive overload principle. And listen to your body. Don't push through pain if it's sharp or persistent.
Those sounds like universal guidelines for any type of exercise. Are there any specific things to keep in mind for muscle building in terms of safety?
Yeah, because muscle building often involves lifting heavier weights and doing more reps and sets, there's a slightly higher risk of overuse injuries like tendinitis or acute injuries like muscle strains or tears if you're not careful. So it's even more important to start light when learning new exercises to really nail the form before you start adding weight. And make sure you're using safe and well-maintained equipment. If you're new to muscle building, getting guidance in a qualified personal trainer is a really good idea. They can teach you proper technique and help you create a program that suits your current fitness level and minimizes your risk of injury.
So it's about being extra careful with heavier weights and really focusing on good technique.
Exactly. But it's also worth noting that research shows injury rates in recreational strength training are actually pretty low if people use proper technique and progress gradually.
That's reassuring. So both approaches have some inherent risks, but muscle building, especially when you're lifting heavy, requires more attention to form and gradual progression. Having access to a variety of equipment can offer more flexibility. But those fundamental injury prevention principles, warm-up, good form, gradual progression, and listening to your body are absolutely crucial for staying safe and making your fitness journey sustainable no matter what path you choose.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Now, for our listeners out there, how do you figure out if fitness training or muscle building is the right path for you? It all comes down to your personal goals, right?
Absolutely. The first and most important step is to really think about your fitness goals before you make any decisions. Ask yourself, what exactly do I want to achieve? Is it about increasing muscle size, building strength, changing my body composition, improving my performance in the sport? Or is it mainly about improving my overall health and well-being? Knowing your motivations is key.
So get really clear on your why. What's next in this self-assessment?
Next, be honest with yourself about where you're at right now, fitness-wise. Think about your current cardiovascular endurance, strength, balance, and flexibility. This will help you set realistic goals and choose a starting point that's right for you and that you can sustain.
We mentioned the SMART goal framework earlier. How does that come into play here?
Is a really useful tool at this stage. Make sure your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant to you, and time-bound. Instead of having a vague goal like get stronger or build muscle, a smart goal would be something more concrete. For example, increase my bench press by 10 pounds in the next 3 months, or gain 5 pounds of lean muscle mass in the next 6 months.
That makes it much clearer and easier to track your progress. What else should people consider when choosing their path?
Think about your long-term vision for your health and fitness, and also those shorter-term milestones that will keep you motivated. But maybe most importantly, think about what you actually enjoy doing. Choosing a training style you find fun and engaging will make you way more likely to stick with it. If the idea of lifting weights and seeing your body change excites you, then muscle building might be a good fit.
So it's not just about what you think you should be doing, but also about what genuinely interests you and what you're likely to maintain over time.
Exactly. Clearly defining your goals and understanding what drives you, whether it's aesthetics, performance, or health outcomes, is super important. You need to see how well the primary outcomes of muscle building align with what you actually want to achieve. If your main goals are, for example, improving your cardiovascular health or becoming more functionally fit for everyday life, then going all in on muscle building might not be the best way to go. You might be better off with a more integrated or balanced approach. And don't forget about that SMART goal framework. Use it to turn those desires into concrete, actionable targets that will help you pick the right training style and track your progress.
Okay, let's say someone's currently doing general fitness training, and they decide they want to start focusing more on building muscle. What are some practical tips for making that transition?
The most important thing is to start gradually. Don't suddenly overhaul your entire routine. Instead, slowly add in more resistance training exercises that are specifically designed to trigger muscle hypertrophy. This will give your body time to adjust and will significantly reduce your risk of getting injured.
So slow and steady wins the race. What else should people focus on during this transition?
Focus on learning and consistently using proper form for all the new exercises you're adding. It's often a good idea to start lighter than you think you need to so you can really get the movement down before you start increasing the weight. You might even want to work with a certified personal trainer, at least for a few sessions, to get some expert guidance on performing exercises correctly and safely. Investing in good technique early on can pay off big time.
That seems like a smart move to stay safe and see results. How about the structure of the workouts?
To make those muscles grow, you've got to use progressive overload. This means gradually increasing the weight, reps, or sets, or decreasing your rest periods as your muscles get stronger. You'll also want to adjust your overall training volume and intensity to better suit muscle building. This usually involves focusing on that 6 to 12 rep range for most exercises, doing around 3 to 5 sets per exercise, and keeping your rest between sets relatively short, something like 30 to 90 seconds to maximize muscle growth.
Are there certain types of exercises that are particularly effective for building muscle mass?
Definitely. Focus on compound exercises. These are movements that worked multiple large muscle groups at the same time, like squats, deadlifts, bench presses, rows, and pull-ups. These are super effective for building overall muscle mass and strength.
And we can't forget about the importance of nutrition for muscle growth.
You're right. Make sure you're eating enough protein. Aim for that 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight every day. This will give your muscles the building blocks they need to repair and grow. Pay attention to how your body feels, too. Keep track of muscle soreness, fatigue, and any signs that you might be overtraining. Make sure you have enough rest days in your schedule to allow your muscles to recover and grow.
So it's a whole package approach. You need smart training strategies, good nutrition, and enough recovery.
Exactly. And if you're new to muscle building, it can be really helpful to follow a structured muscle building program. There are lots of good ones online, or you can get one from a qualified fitness professional. They can give you a solid plan to follow. Lastly, even though you're prioritizing muscle building, don't completely ignore your cardiovascular health. Keep doing some cardio, even if it's not as frequent or intense as it used to be. Remember, a gradual and well-planned transition is super important for reaching your muscle building goals and avoiding injuries. Don't try to change everything overnight. Mastering proper form is crucial for both effectiveness and safety, so consider getting some initial guidance from a trainer. And never forget about progressive overload. That's what's going to drive your long-term gains.
Now, what if someone really enjoys their current fitness routine and the variety it offers, but they also want to incorporate some muscle-building elements without making a complete switch? Can they do that?
Of course. Integrating muscle-building principles into your current fitness routine can be a great way to get a balanced approach and enjoy the benefits of both worlds.
So how would someone go about integrating those two approaches?
One good strategy is to set aside certain days of the week, maybe 2 or 3, specifically for muscle-building workouts that focus on resistance training for hypertrophy. On the other days, you can continue with your regular cardio, flexibility work, or any other fitness activities you enjoy.
So dedicate specific time slots for each focus. What if someone loves a particular activity like running or cycling?
You can definitely find ways to add strength training exercises that complement those activities. For example, if you're a runner, try doing some body weight exercises like squats, lunges, and calf raises after your runs. This will help strengthen the muscles you use for running, which can potentially boost your performance and even reduce your risk of injuries.
That makes sense, working different muscle groups in a way that supports your main activity.
Another option is high-intensity interval training, or HI. These workouts are designed to include both cardio and strength training in the same session, which can be a really efficient way to work towards multiple fitness goals at once. You could also alternate your focus on different days or even weeks. For instance, have some days that are more about cardio and general fitness, and then other days that are more intensely focused of muscle building through resistance training.
So there are lots of ways to mix and match these approaches to suit your preferences and goals. What's the most important thing to remember when integrating muscle building into an existing routine?
At the end of the day, it comes down to prioritizing your goals. Decide which aspect is more important to you, general fitness or muscle building. Then structure your schedule and training intensity accordingly to make sure you're progressing toward those goals. Integrating these approaches gives you a lot of flexibility and can be a really sustainable way to reap a wider range of benefits. You get to maintain those cardiovascular and overall health benefits while specifically targeting muscle growth for strength, physique, and a better metabolism. Dedicating specific days or sessions to muscle building ensures it gets enough attention without you having to give up other aspects of fitness that you value. This leads to a well-rounded and enjoyable fitness journey. Just remember, when you're integrating, let your priorities guide you. If muscle growth is your main goal, then resistance training should take center stage in your schedule, with other activities playing a supporting role.
This has been a super informative deep dive. Let's wrap up with some key takeaways for our listeners.
The main difference to remember is that fitness training is all about a holistic approach to physical development and overall health, encompassing a wide range of fitness elements. Muscle building, on the other hand, primarily focuses on increasing muscle size and strength.
And the benefits are different too. Fitness training really shines when it comes to improving cardiovascular health and overall well-being, while muscle building offers big advantages in strength, lean muscle mass, and resting metabolic rate.
The best path for you depends entirely on your individual fitness goals. If broad health and a well-rounded physical condition are your main priorities, then stick with or fine-tune your current fitness training routine. But if you're really looking to significantly increase muscle size and strength, improve your body composition, and boost your metabolism, then shifting towards a muscle-building focus, either completely or by integrating it into your existing routine, would be more beneficial. And a hybrid approach, blending elements of both, can also be really effective and sustainable.
And no matter what path you choose, there are some essential things to always keep in mind.
For sure, always prioritize safety by focusing on proper exercise technique and progressing gradually. Make sure you're fueling your body right with a balanced and nutrient-rich diet. Pay attention to what your body's telling you, and make sure you're getting enough rest and recovery.
And it's always a good idea